Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is a show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our expert then, Venkatraman of Chart Advice, Amit Shah of Indiabulls Ventures, and Brijesh Bhatia of Dealmoney Securities join me on the show right now. But before we start the show, let's head over to Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Welspun Corp. Yash, what is it showing?
So I have two charts, Darshan. One is a buy and the other is a sell call. The sell call coming in on Welspun Corp, and a bearish engulfing pattern is formed on the charts. The bearish engulfing pattern is a pattern which is formed wherein the candle size completely engulfs the size of the candle before it, and we are seeing that a big red candle has formed on the charts today. And now the green line over here, that is the 200-day moving average. Now what we've seen in the past is that twice the stock has tried to test those levels and it has breached them, but it has retraced significantly over the last 1 month. As you could see over here, after the sharp correction it bounced back from those levels, it went up and it crossed the 200-day moving average mark, but it slipped significantly, and now it is very close to breaching that mark again. So an early indication of some downward pressure coming in for Welspun Corp.
Okay, so that's the first one on Welspun Corp. What's your view, Raja? Welspun Corp, what do you make of it?
Welspun Corp is making an attempt to rise, but it is facing resistance around the 150 zone. And like Yash rightly pointed out, there is selling pressure emerging and also at a trendline resistance. So one could actually be considering as a shorting opportunity. Okay, shorting opportunity. What about you, Amit?
I would be a contra on this one. Actually, there's a good V-shaped recovery. Yes, in the near term, some sort of a pullback can happen because it has risen almost vertically from 116 to almost like 157. So yes, it can come towards 135 kind of zone. But I think once that is done, again we should see further upside for the stock.
Okay, and what about you, Brijesh?
I would probably look for a long opportunity. If you look at the weekly chart, it is quite strongly holding 200 weekly average, and even if you look at the daily chart, it has given a positive move over 50 days and 200 days. So probably I would think double bottom breakout is on cards, and I think 140, 141 could be a good entry level for going longs, and with the stop loss of 133, 134.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on the stock that the Bloomberg terminal did throw up. We'll get started with the show with our technical analyst. The first stock right now is Pidilite. Raja has a view on it. So let's pull up the chart. Raja, if you can explain why you are bullish on the counter.
Yeah, the stock after declining since August, it has actually created a double bottom formation. And the recent breakout which you saw towards the end of October has actually done well for the stock, and the stock has been consistently moving higher. And the long body candles which you can see are clearly signaling that there is a lot of bullish activity undergoing. And today also it has opened with an upside gap, which clearly indicates that the bulls are very much in control. Plus, if you look at the momentum indicators, I have used the DI lines, and the DI lines are inching higher. So all this together definitely tells us that we should look at it from a long opportunity. Yes, it has risen, so one should actually be looking at even pullbacks towards the region of 1025 to 1035 as a dip opportunity to go long.
Okay, what's the target? What's the stop loss?
The target is in the region of 1130 if you are a short-term player. Otherwise, you could look to an upside towards 1250.
1250, and what's the stop loss?
The stop loss would be below 1000.
1000, okay. So
there's a dip buy opportunity also.
Okay, so is that a strict stop loss, and what's the time frame in which you see levels of 1150 to 1200 coming in?
Yeah, in the range of 15 trading sessions.
In the 15 trading sessions, that's for it. Okay, so that's a buy call. Thanks so much for that, Raja. Amit, are you bullish on Pidilite Industries?
Yeah, I would agree. I think this has been one, mid-cap which has not corrected very sharply along with the markets, and probably along with the crude falling, the tailwinds I would imagine would be with the stock. I think the stock can test its all-time highs of about 1180, 1190 zone, and possibly even break out. So yes, I would be bullish on the stock.
Okay, bullish on Pidilite. Brijesh?
Even I would look for and agree with the 1250 targets, though it might slow and steady take a time, but 1250 can be on cards, and one can keep a stop loss of 1025 at the current level. Also one can look for accumulations.
Okay, so that's it. It's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on the first stock, which is Pidilite. Moving on to the second stock, and Amit wants to talk about ICICI Bank. Amit, if you can have you here.
Sure.
What's the view that you have on ICICI? I believe it's a bullish call that you have.
Sure. See, basically, ICICI has been in a way a laggard since a long time. It has almost formed a double top, which just today it has just broken out of it. So it has been a long range and a consolidation for multi years, you know, and it has not rallied along with the banking stocks. They do go through in their own cycles, and I think a new bull cycle for ICICI seems to have begun. On the daily charts also, if you see, there are good signs of, you know, smart money, big people buying in, because there are large candles along with large volumes, and then again consolidation. So these are classical signs of accumulation happening. Also, it's been holding to its near-term averages. So the setup is quite good. Today also it has broken out about and is in fresh all-time highs. While of course bank Nifty and all other lot of bank stocks are nowhere near there. So it's in its own cycle, and I think it's in a new bull trend.
Okay, it's at 367. If someone is looking to take position at this point of time, should they enter at this level? Should they wait for a dip? And what's your stop loss and target for the same?
Sure. So I think the entry is definitely can be done right at this prices. My sense is this stock can move towards 440 levels, and one can keep and stop off about 330, between 330 and 325 here.
440?
Yes.
And how soon do you see that coming in?
That could possibly take a month or maybe a bit more, but it's a positional call basically.
Positional call. And what's a strict stop loss for the same? If don't buy on dip, if that point your strategy will turn reverse, that should be the end of the call?
It's into fresh all-time highs. Even a dip of about 10% wouldn't change the view, because it's quite a big call. It's into fresh all-time highs. So even a 5-7% dip, one should actually utilize to take positions in the stock. That doesn't change the bullish picture basically.
Okay, so it's a bullish call that's coming in. Thank you so much for that, Amit. Even Brijesh is bullish on ICICI Bank. We'll get his chart and get his logic on Brijesh, if you can come in. What's your logic that you've used for a buy recommendation on ICICI Bank?
So if you look at these consolidation post breakout, if you look at these white line, stock was taking resistance at the previous levels, and stock is given a breakout, and strong consolidation has been seen between 360 350 zone. Okay, look at the yesterday's momentum. Even after a gap down opening, stock has seen a strong upside. And look at the MACD. MACD is given a strong positive crossover at the breakout levels. So I think strongly has given a first the major breakout, then the second the consolidation breakout, and I think this momentum might continue towards 396 400 levels on the upside.
Okay, 396
to 400 levels.
That's your short-term target.
Yeah,
what's the stop loss that you?
I think one should keep a stop loss of below 350 at the current levels.
Okay. So that's a bullish call that's coming in on ICICI Bank. Thanks so much for that, Brijesh. So since both of them are bullish, it just leaves you only your view on ICICI Bank.
Yes, I am also in line with them, and I see overhead median line resistance emerging around 375. So one who has already initiated longs should look at booking profits around those levels.
Okay.
A pullback is what I would advocate, and I would continue to be a bullish in the region of 335 to 340 is a good zone to initiate fresh longs with a stop loss below 320.
Okay.
And the upside targets, what Amit had mentioned, towards 440 is definitely on the cards.
Okay, so it's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on ICICI Bank. So we've had two stocks among three analysts that we spoke about in the first round. So Pidilite as well as ICICI Bank are the long calls in round one. Let's start with round two, and Raja's second pick is Ceat this time around. So let's pull up the chart and see why Raja is bullish on the counter.
Yeah, the overall charts after some consolidation in the earlier part of the year witnessed a sharp fall, and this fall actually has created some positive divergences here. Positive divergences on the RSI indicator which I have used definitely augurs for some positive upside if the breakout emerges, and this is the trend line which I have used for the breakout, and the trend line which emerged from here, the breakout which emerged from here, actually suggests that there is strong bullish upside to be seen. And you can also see that around these levels, these dotted lines, these blue ones, they are actually a support resistance mechanism, and this resistance is now broken out, and a long body candle here definitely augurs well for the prices. So you can actually look at some upside towards 1350.
Okay, 1670, 1350 is something that you see at. What's the stop loss?
Stop loss below 1200.
Below 1200 is the stop loss. Care to explain this blue line and these two dotted lines? What's the relevance here?
Yeah, this actually is making a lower low. And the RSI is making a higher low.
Okay.
So which indicates a divergence.
Okay.
So this divergence should be acted upon when this trend line is broken out. So this trend line has broken out, and you can also see this particular line, this blue line. This is acting as a support for these levels.
Yeah.
Now it is acting as a resistance for these levels. That's why you can see here the prices are actually holding out. Now when the breakout has emerged, one can actually consider this as a buying opportunity.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Ceat, bullish call that's coming in. Thank you so much for that, Raja. Amit, do you share the same positive view on Ceat?
Yeah, so I think towards 1290, 1300, this stock can definitely go up, which is a bit a small upside from here. Once it can sustain about 1300, then yes, even a larger move towards 1370 kind of levels can be achieved. I think it will probably take some breather around 1300 kind of levels.
Is it a stock that you would accumulate on dips?
Yes, I would look to accumulate this on dips. The support is now, of course, a bit far, but larger support is around 1200 to 1180. Yes.
Okay, Brijesh, would that be a third thumbs up?
No, I think I'm slightly cautious on this stock because I think 1285, this momentum might move towards 1280, 1285 zone. And if you look at the previous lows, which is it had hit in around May, and the volumes are very, very much higher in the selling pressure. So till those 1285, 1290 level are not convincingly crossed, I think I would wait.
Why cautious? What is the indicator that is making you cautious?
Because the fall from around 1700 to 1280, the volumes were very much higher, and the stock is making lower low, lower high. So I'm just wait in case those levels are convincingly crossed with volumes, then only I will look for a long.
So what is the level that you will look at, and is it on a weekly basis, daily basis?
On a daily basis, 1290, I would be looking.
Not an intraday basis.
Not on intraday basis.
Okay. So that's the view that's coming in on Ceat. Amit's second stock is Radico Khaitan. So pull up the stock, Amit, if you can come and join me. It's a buy as per ADX. You'll need to explain what makes you so bullish.
Sure. So, stocks which do not fall with the falling market are actually the stocks that generally I tend to focus on because they show the relative strength, the confidence of the holders of the stock. So in the mid-cap carnage, if you see, the stock has formed a nice base around 300 zone, and this has not corrected. In fact, this entire correction, I would not call it as a correction, because if you see the prior move, it has risen from about 100, 120 to almost 500 levels, and after such a large move, if it's moving in such a narrow band, it is more of a consolidation than correction. So 300 has been a good strong base for itself, and recently if you see the ADX is slowly rising from the lower levels, and we are seeing the bullish momentum building up along with large candles. Even yesterday's volume was quite a large volume with a strong bullish candle, strong closing on the upside. My sense is there's a double top around 495-500 region. My sense is this stock probably would be amongst the very few mid-cap stocks which would be testing its all-time highs and even possibly break on the upside.
Okay, in the last 2 days, it's moved from levels of sub 400, probably this might be 380, 390,
right,
all the way to 450 now.
Right.
Is it still a good time to start accumulating, or would you wait for a dip?
I think even this time is also a good time to buy, and as and when if you get 4-5% kind of a dip, that should also be a good entry point for the stock. 495 on a conservative basis, which is the test of its double top, and my sense is it possibly even go beyond that.
Explain the importance of these two lines.
Yeah, so basically the near-term averages, any stock which is moving above its, trading above its near-term averages, does show the positive momentum in the short term, and when you couple it along with the larger view, it kind of adds up, if the larger trend is on the positive side, then this holds more relevance than just seeing the average itself. So in this case, the broad setup is quite on the bullish side, and the near-term picture also kind of is in sync with the overall view.
Okay, Amit, it's a positive call. Thank you so much for that, Amit. Just before we continue, the Zee management is speaking on the deal or on the announcement that they did yesterday. Let's just cut in for a while and see what they have to say.
All right, thanks. Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Adi Desai from York Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi guys, thanks for the call. Want to get just on the last question. As you said, whether it's like distribution that's like kind of really the bigger part of our consideration over here, or whether it's effectively to develop kind of like sort of invest more into, I guess, content going forward. That's really our bigger consideration. And I guess the second question from a strategic point of view, the promoters obviously would like to sell less, but the other side, the buyers will want to have a larger interest in the company as well. So how do we kind of look at those kind of conflicting desires over here to make sure, like, I don't assume that there's a bid-ask in terms of pricing. It's more of a bid-ask in terms of how much equity stake to take in the company. So how do we sort of solve for that issue effectively? And just, those are two questions from me.
So the first one, definitely from our perspective, we are looking at going to the global diaspora with our content. That's our critical ambition. You know, we've been making content in the non-South Asian languages in 12 different countries. And we believe the strategic partner can catapult us to take that to a much larger base from our perspective. On the second part, I would request Himanshu to step in and answer that for you.
So on the second question, Adi, there will be, you're right, there will be a bid-ask not only on the quantum of stake, but then certainly be a bid-ask on pricing as well, because, it is for what kind of stake and, what quantum, what rights, and what kind of premium. So, there will be a bid-ask on both the aspects which will determine the deal.
Okay, we'll try to get the management later for a one-on-one interaction to get more clarity on the reasoning for this up to 50% stake that they want to sell on the promoter entity. But the chart is extremely interesting. From the lows of the day, it moved up almost 10% and now it's trading flat for a while. That's Zee for you. We'll move back to Radico Khaitan. It's at 450. Brijesh, what's your view on Radico Khaitan?
I agree. It's a strong bullish, and if you look at the last 2 years, stock haven't closed or maybe made a low below 21 monthly average. So I think definitely a good long bet, even from a medium term point of view or even a trading point of view. I think 480, 485 on a short term can be eyed.
Raja, third thumbs up?
Yeah. The stock is definitely, after dipping down to its support levels around the 300 mark, the stock has risen up sharply, and this weekly candle of the current week, which is a long body bullish candle, definitely indicates that a lot of buying interest has stepped in. So it could actually challenge the higher levels in the next 15 to 20 trading sessions.
So it's a consensus bullish call that's coming in on Radico Khaitan. Before we move on to the last stock, and Brijesh wants to discuss Havells, just a quick word on Zee Entertainment. It's moved through the day. And obviously it will be fundamentals now that will decide and what the management says. But on the charts, at least we'll get a chart check. So Brijesh, Zee Entertainment, what should one do? It's at crossroads now.
This could be probably a bounce. 465, 473 could be the bounce, but till that level is not crossed, stock is under pressure.
Okay, what about you, Amit? Zee Entertainment?
Yeah, so I think the recovery is quite smart in spite of the news, whatever it is. The recovery from the lower levels is quite smart. So if we were to even close somewhere here, so I think that would be a bullish signal, and we can test about 480 on the upside.
Okay, 480 on the upside, Raja. Zee?
Yeah, the weekly charts are indicating that it's trying to hold on to 400 levels, but overall the setup does look weak, and probably the overall setup is negative, so rallies may be actually used as a selling opportunity. Okay,
rallies should be used to sell. So that's the view on Zee Entertainment. The last stock we want to discuss is Havells. Brijesh, we'll pull up the chart for you. It's above key moving averages. It's a buy call. You'll need to explain your chart, the fancy lines and the colored lines. Yes.
Okay, fine. Probably this is the 50-day average and this is the 200-day average. Okay. If you look at the stock has saw a strong downtrend and still it is holding 200 days average. Okay. So if you look at these, every momentum below 200 days average, a strong momentum has seen upside. Okay. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all time we have seen stocks going below 200. We have seen strong uprise. Okay, this is the first time after this fall, stock has convincingly moved above 50 days average. And if you look at this technical pattern, it is called the pennant, which is generally after rise there is a triangle formation, and generally a bullish pattern after a breakout. And we have seen yesterday stock breaking above the pennant. I think this momentum will continue on the upside, and I'm expecting the target of, if I look at the target of pole, the targets come to around 710 on the upside.
710, how soon?
Probably 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks. What's the stop loss that
I just placed below the yesterday's low at 648.
Okay, so it's a small stop loss with a higher target that you're looking at. Okay, thank you so much on that's the view on Havells. Raja, are you bullish on Havells?
Yes, definitely. Havells on the weekly charts has dipped down into the weekly trendline support, and for close to 4 weeks it has actually formed nice lower shadows, which definitely get a lot of buying opportunities have emerged there. And the subsequent move which we are seeing right now at 674 says that it has sped up quite a bit, but potential is very much there, so one should actually be looking to buy here and at current levels towards in the region of 625 to 635 for an upside to even 800.
Okay, 800. So that's a much more bullish call that's coming in on Havells. And Amit, your view on Havells?
Yeah, I would be also bullish on Havells. In fact, we have been tracking it, and yesterday also at Indiabulls we had a buy call on it. Of course, the near-term target was 685. I think it's nearing there. But yeah, I mean, the view is bullish, and stock should even see further higher levels.
Okay, so it's a consensus bullish call that we're getting in on Havells at this point of time. But before we wrap the show, let's head across to Yash Upadhyay again, who has a chart this time around, and the chart is on Dabur. Yash, what do you have for us?
We'll end the show on a positive note. A buy call coming in on Dabur, and the indicator we are using is the MACD indicator, and that has given an early buy signal. So if you could see the blue line over here, that is the MACD line, and that has crossed over from below the signal line to create a positive crossover. Now the green line over here, that is the 200-day moving average, and we need to talk about it. The stock has come under some severe selling pressure, falling from the levels in excess of 480 to as low as 360, and this is where it has formed a near-term bottom, and it has been rising from those levels. And the 200-day moving average, it is extremely close to it. Should it move higher from these from the 200-day moving average, we could expect a strong upside in the counter. And the beauty of the indicator is that 6 out of 10 times if you went long when the indicator turned positive, it would have resulted in, on an average, positive returns to the tune of 8%.
Okay, so that's a positive view that's coming in on Dabur. Thank you so much for that, Yash. Raja, it's an early indication is what Yash is indicating.
Correct.
Would you venture a bet into Dabur at this level?
No, not at this level. Like he said, it's an early indication. It's just trying to hold up because of the market, but overall the picture does look weaker.
Okay.
So a dip towards 330 to 340 is where I would venture a buy. Being in the FMCG space, Dabur is a good bet, but then at lower levels.
Okay, lower levels. Amit?
Yeah, so see, Dabur has historically been taking support at its monthly 20-period moving average consistently. It's in a broad uptrend. Yes, the near-term picture is weak, but the broader picture is still, quite okay, and it's a big bullish trend, the overall that we see. I think a move about 385 would then set upside for the stock, and we can see decent recovery towards 415, 420 kind of levels.
Okay, what about you, Brijesh?
I would go with Yash. I would look for a long opportunity at current level as well, because if you look at the weekly chart, it is nearly holding 14 months rising trend line. Second, the fall from the 440, it has been taking support at 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level. And if I look at the RSI, it has been slightly daily is around 30-35 level, and it's showing sign of upwards momentum. So I would definitely look for long opportunity at current level as well.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Dabur. But with that, it's a wrap on today's Hot Money. Thank you to all my guests, Brijesh, Amit, Raja. Thank you so much for coming in today. Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.